Welcome, guys. You're still watching Entertainment TV on MetroTV. You should see what is happening in the studio. Anyways, let me introduce our guest. Before I introduce our guest, like I said, today we are talking about tour operators who play key factor in the tourism industry, and tourists always count on them to make their dream vacation into a reality, which I'm hoping one day they will turn mine into a reality. So this afternoon, we are talking to Ya Ofori Ansa, who is the CEO of Talking Drums, and we are just here to talk about the importance of their agency in the tourism sector. And I just admire the fact that Okrachidin Ya Ofori Ansa and Ya Harriet ne Helen Ya Ofori Ansa, just like Nana Yata Nobachi. Yeah, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, Medasi.
Oh, you heard that?
Yes, and funny enough, I think is Desmond's neighbor in London.
Yeah.
Funny, I don't know when Desmond went to London.
From the Fulham Road.
But then,
From where?
Fulham Road. Great.
Oh, okay. Great. So we'll be talking more into that. We'll fix something for Ya very, very soon. And so we know Ghana. In December, there are lots of things that happen, and most often the tourists come into the country hoping to get the best when it comes to a lot of things. And let me just read a little statistics that we have here. Using the data from Kotoka International Airport, the Ghana Tourism Authority said that the highest tourist arrival for the month of December in recent times had been 116,438 international arrivals from all entry points in 2019, a feat achieved during the year of return. All that I'm trying to say is that during December in Ghana, a lot of tourists come into the country, and we have a lot of agencies that they call to help them, be it preparation, creating budgets for them, everything that they'll spend here. So today we'll be speaking to Ya just to get into what they do when the tourists arrive, what they do for them, and also I'll take her thoughts on tourism on economy. Yeah, let me just ask you this. Being a CEO of a tourist company, let me get your thoughts on the importance of travel on an economy, on a country's economy. What is the fuss about it?
Travel presents so many opportunities, from business opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities, educational opportunities. So Africa as a whole is seeing a surge in tourism. According to Statista, in 2021, Africa's GDP from travel and tourism was 4.4%, which was $119 billion.
Wow, that's huge.
And number one in Africa in terms of tourism is Egypt. Egypt generated $8.8 billion. So there's so much potential. $billion.
Yes.
So there's so much potential, Ghana is on the map. We've seen the surge in tourism. We've seen December in Ghana. But there is lots that can be done to make sure we're taking what we've learned from December in Ghana and making it happen across the year. So in 2019, as you mentioned, around the year of return, Ghana saw a record number of tourists, record number of travelers, generated a record number of funds. I think there are various estimates, but it shows you that if you invest in the industry, there's a lot of returns across the board. You can reinvest in infrastructure, in roads, in water and electricity. So just you could really use the income well, and then also you can work towards building up the next generation, thinking about educational opportunities to present the next tour guides and next tour operators. Lots of opportunities.
Okay, so from your perspective, where you sit, what we are gaining from the year of return, beyond the return, are we investing back into making sure that whatever we are experiencing, we are making it better for people to keep enjoying that opportunity?
I think we should definitely take lessons from what we're doing, but we should also borrow from other countries, because lots of countries in Africa have established tourism sectors. So we don't have to start from scratch. We can pinch and learn from what works well. We can borrow from Egypt, we can borrow from South Africa, and we can borrow from Tanzania and so forth. I understand it's peer-to-peer education. Let's share ideas with those who've been doing this for a long time and see what worked well for them and see how we can use that as well. So I think there's work we could be doing to make sure that we are doing that a lot more.
Okay, so now let's move into your sector. most people, like I said, when they are gearing towards December in Ghana, there are a lot of things that happen. You are coming to make my dream vacation and everything into a reality, like a big one. So what does a tour company do? And what are your roles that you do when such things are approaching? So there's various things that tour companies... Okay, so we are trying to fix... There's a problem with your microphone. They are trying to fix it. So you
Yeah, I mean, basically, Nana, when it comes to tourism, already we know that from other countries we are having a lot of people coming into Ghana, but there's been also the issue about how often we move around in our country and going for maybe somewhere in the western region, someone from Accra moving to the western region, moving to the northern region, all of those places. There are many challenges with it, you know, talking about money, talking about people do not have time. You know, all of these networks become challenges for people, and not to even think of going outside the country for vacation. And so you'd have a number of people just, okay, the whole year or all their lives, they've put together some money and they'll say that they want to travel to Egypt, want to go to Dubai, you know, all of those places.
Dream destinations.
But talking about the economy, you see that things have changed. So if you have saved monies for a couple of years, then the next moment there's inflation or whatever thing, then you have to get times 3 of that money to be able to do all of those trips. So when people come to you and you've got to set up a budget for them in that sense, how do you go about it? What's the rate, you know, Lily? Do people even come?
Yes, I think number one, our starting point is what is your budget? Because travel should be accessible to everyone and you should be able to work with all budgets. And also domestic tourism, so traveling within your own country, because there's so much to see within Ghana, other African countries, there's much to see within their countries. So that's a really, really great starting point, especially maybe if you're new to travel, you're not sure about if you, maybe if you're confident to explore other countries. It's good to start in your own backyard, so to speak. But we definitely work with all budgets. We help people plan trips, and we also host trips. So we create our own trips and help people host people on those trips. So for example, if you wanted to plan a vacation and you gave us a budget.
I like that,
vacation. We can work towards that. So I've helped people plan vacations, honeymoons, birthdays. So we work towards all budgets to make sure that people have the best experience possible. And what we really work to do is have immersive experience. So we work with local businesses, local tour operators. We partner with them to make sure that we can get the best experiences possible.
Well, I like the fact that, Helen, before you go, I like the fact that you talked about partnering with your agency, because I realized that on your website, you do have guests joining you to enjoy the experience. And I feel for someone like me, who haven't traveled before, for my first time, and I want to go somewhere, it will be good for me to go in the company of others. And that would be very good. For such a person, before Helen comes in, how should my budget be like? Ghana cedis, I'm not mentioning dollars. Should it be like between 20,000, 50,000? That's spending without flights and accommodation, or what?
Yes, we can work to all budgets. And to your point, I've been solo traveling for about 10 years, and I am comfortable with it now because I've been doing it for a long time. But I know that there are some people who'll be like, solo travel? Who are you
travel alone,
So one of the reasons I set up Talking Drums was to encourage people who maybe want to travel, but maybe their friends are not really as interested in doing so. So we can come together, create our own community, because once you travel, you find that you meet people along the way. You meet solo travelers, you meet groups, but you make friends along the way. So we're really keen to bring people together, and so that they leave as friends, as part of that experience.
Okay, but you were talking about people, you know, starting from Ghana, I mean, touring their country somehow, depending on the budgets and all. But then we are told that sometimes when you are traveling, even in Ghana here, it's actually more expensive than when you are traveling out there. How true is this, and what can be done?
It can vary. I think the two biggest costs, accommodation and transport, right? Whether you're going outside of the country or within the country. So budgeting well for those, and then also having an emergency fund. Because
emergency.
I like that, emergency. But it could also be, oh, I wasn't expected to see this nice butter curry and, you know, hold the fan, and then, you know, maybe you get excited and want to patronize businesses along the way. But I would definitely say, yes, that's one thing that I've really noticed on my travels, that transport and accommodation, once you're able to find those two within your budget, everything really does fall into place.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Helen, because I know a few friends that would say that they would rather travel to Dubai than go to Aqua Safari to go and have the weekend over there, because their rooms are expensive. Not just Aqua Safari, other resorts over there are quite expensive. Why is it so? I mean, Dubai is far away from here. Getting your plane ticket and all that. Why would somebody choose to go to Dubai and not go to a prestigious Aqua Safari or other nice resorts? Safari Valley. Thank you. You've been there before.
Enjoy it. I think this comes down to value for money. So when I think about some of the other countries that have more established tourism sectors, such as South Africa, such as Tanzania, the focus is more on customer service and repeat custom. How can we get customers to come back? What can we do? What small little gifts can we give to them that surprise them and, you know, really adds to the experience? So I think in a lot of the places that we have around Ghana, we should think about what should we do beyond just charging a high price? You know, how can we make it accessible and make sure that we're having return customers? Because customers equal more customers. If you do it good to one customer, word of mouth goes far. You have repeat customers. So I really think if you're able to tie that into your proposition, what is the package you're providing beyond the room and perhaps the safari? What service am I providing that people feel like they want to come back? And I do feel other countries probably have more competitive pricing. To your point, that may be why people are going to Dubai. But I can't emphasize enough why I say we should really learn from other African countries. I've had some of the best experiences in East Africa with service, but the price has been so competitive. I've even been shocked, like, is this really what you're charging me? But I've left feeling very, very impressed with the service, very impressed with the accommodation and wanting to return. So we should definitely look more into how we're providing value for money and not just providing high prices.
One of the concerns about tourism in this country that has come up is with respect to accommodation. And I remember one time Dr. Randy raised this conversation on Good Morning Ghana, that the kind of charges that are on the accommodation staff. So we've got like taxes, like a lot of them, more than 10 of them. And so they've carried all of that into the charges. So you find people from abroad, they'll do their YouTube videos, go to certain places, make videos, and say that it beats their mind that this place actually costs this much. Isn't that a way of impeding, you know, people's desire? Like, okay, I want to come to Ghana. But when you look at the fact that you've got to spend, and you go into the room, and it's not, you know, it's not actually value for money. Well, could we blame the hoteliers, or we've got to blame the government in a way? And in that situation, how do we fix that?
I think there should be maybe more dialogue between the private sector and the government to share these concerns, because this is legitimate feedback that we should be building on and addressing so that people return. Accommodation comes up as a concern a lot, and I think a lot of the concern around accommodation is pricing. And I think from the people who are offering accommodation, they know that, you know, they're paying a lot of taxes. So I think they'd want to see where those taxes going. Are the taxes making it easier for people to then come back? When I think about places that have really big nature reserves or safaris, like the Serengeti, the Ngorongoro Crater, Tanzania, and Kenya, Masai Mara, they have taxes, but the taxes go to maintain the safari parks. A lot of them are World Heritage sites, so they come with additional upkeep and expectations. So I think people will be more willing to pay more if they understood where those additional funds, what was the purpose of those additional funds.
The roads well, I mean, it wasn't until recent times that the road to Kakum was fixed.
Very bad.
But you're going to Kakum, you drive from Accra to Kakum, and the road to the place that we say is a national tourist site is really in a bad shape, and it will deter people from coming because they've got to pick flights from Accra to Cape Coast or to Tadi and come back to Cape Coast in that sense. Among that, what other challenges do tourists, you know, share with you that, you know, when it comes to Ghana, we could do better with it?
The point you just touched on is accessibility, so transport and traveling around. When you have robust transportation system or roads that really opens up the country and then encourages people to venture out beyond Accra. So I'm really keen to encourage people to venture out beyond Accra, see the North, see Tamale, Paga, Navrongo, go to Kumasi, go to Volta region, and people are able to do so a lot more when the transport system or the roads are more robust. So that kind of reinvestment. And interestingly, tourists really like open spaces. So we should definitely think about having more green open spaces where people could just go, maybe have a picnic, relax, chill. I think that's why Abri is considered one of the most popular places to visit in Ghana.
Botanical garden.
Exactly. So green space where people can just go and chill.
Because when you attend events like Afro Chella now, Afro Future, you see the tourists just on the grass, relaxing, and they just don't want to be bothered. Like they love that space. But then, tell us about Talking Drum Travel Adventures. Because from the videos, you're having fun. Some of the places
traveling.
Traveling a lot. And which places did you go to in East Africa? Is it Tanzania, Uganda?
Tanzania and Kenya, and I believe Seychelles counts as East Africa. And funnily enough, we Ghanaians, we represent, I met Ghanaians in Seychelles. Yes, because we have a rich history, but also to see Ghanaians there was very lovely. So I've been very fortunate. I've been to about 12 African countries in total. I like to repeat countries because I like to, if I've had a good experience, as I mentioned earlier, I like to go and repatronize, but having Talking Drums, I like to also experience places before I recommend them to people, just so I know what I'm recommending and building those relationships. So Talking Drums is an Africa-focused sustainable travel company. So focus on travel in Africa, but doing so sustainably, which is that we want to make sure local people, local entrepreneurs, local businesses are actually benefiting from the surge in tourism, rather than, you can see an increase in perhaps local people like, well, I don't really care about tourism, how's it benefiting me? So we intentionally try to work with local businesses, local companies. I hosted a trip to Tanzania for these 2 creative entrepreneurs, and we partnered with 7 local businesses directly and indirectly many more. So we're trying to have a positive impact as well as having enjoyment.
Very important.
Positive impact and enjoyment. So if someone wants to join, how do I join? Or if I want you to plan my vacation, staycation, whichever vacation. How do you go about it?
Absolutely. So everything is on the website, www.talkingdrumstravel.com. If you want to join our travel adventures, it's /travel adventures, or you can just see it on the main page. If you want us to curate your own experience, we offer travel planning services. So we can either create an itinerary for you and you can go and book everything, or we can create everything for you and book for you. Or we have a new opportunity where you can just go on our online shop and just download. We have kind of like a high-level overview for certain countries. So if you don't necessarily want a bespoke experience, you just want the highlights of a country, you can just go and buy that pack online, download it, and book everything yourself.
Okay, wow.
So with budget and everything, whatever it is the person wants, they can find it online even before getting
So with the itineraries, we have different budgets in there, but if you have a specific budget, reach out to us, we can cater to that. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's say I have a specific budget of 10,000 cedis.
10,000, Harriet.
10,000.
No,
$10,000. $10,000.
Ghana cedis. What can you do for me?
And yes, all called Safari Valley.
Safari Grand, so what can you do for me?
Which country are you thinking of?
Let's say that I want to go to South Africa.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lovely. Okay.
Wait.
Let's listen.
And does this include flights?
No, doesn't include.
Doesn't include
flights.
flights.
Yes.
Okay.
That's your spending.
Yes.
That's my spending.
So South Africa is a country, I say, is very big on value for money. So the issues we're talking about with accommodation, you won't have that problem there. You can get accommodation in the heart of Sandton, which I compare to cantonments, for a fraction of what we'd be paying for here.
Wait, Sandton is like cantonment.
I would compare it to cantonment. It's considered the richest square mile in Africa. Sandton is very... Yes. So you could rent like a studio apartment for about... I don't know the price in dollars, but about $60 a night in the heart of Sandton.
Yeah, very cool.
They have something called the How Train, which is kind of like a subway or train system that can take you to some of the key parts of Johannesburg, but also you have your usual places like your Ubers or your boats, or you can hire a car. So I start in Johannesburg just because I think it's a good starting point. Lots of rich history, especially around Nelson Mandela. Soweto, Vilakazi Street is the only street in the world that is home to 2 Nobel laureates Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So it has such a rich
Oh.
history, such a rich culture.
Yeah.
And then when you've experienced the vibes of Josie, you can fly to Cape Town. Cape Town's very picturesque. You have Table Mountain, very beautiful. Accommodation is slightly higher, but still you can get good value for money in the heart of Cape Town. And then you can take various excursions like wine tasting. They have a very beautiful botanical garden as well. So you can learn from that as well. And also in Cape Town is the southernmost point of Africa. So if you want to go and be as south as you could go in our continent, you can also
get
go
there. But please make sure you've got your emergency fund.
Yes,
Very necessary.
before, we are just wrapping up, but finally, I know December will be coming very soon. Have people started contacting you and everything?
Yes.
Yeah. So which we have to take.
Yeah, I mean,
contact.
we've got to do some bookings
People have
with
been
you.
getting in there earlier and earlier. It feels like every year people inquire earlier and earlier about December in Ghana. I do also encourage them to explore outside of December. However, yes, earlier and earlier. So again, I'm thinking about value for money. We know that there are going to be great events taking place in December. We know there are amazing restaurants that are available across the country now, but especially in Accra. And we have tourism sites that we can also encourage people to go to. So people have started reaching out to me now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, which will reach out to you.
will.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Ofori Ansah, who is the CEO of Talking Drums Travels, and it's been amazing talking to her. We're talking about the role they play as tour operators in tourism, and she said a lot, and we've taken a lot from her. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
gracing our table of life.